A win, multiple goals, clean sheet, in a London derby, away from home.
You ain't so tough with that bad boy tuck. I'ma get it how I'm living, I'ma walk the walk. Outline my lines, I rap through thought.
And I'm feeling good. What's happening, people? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, and welcome to your complete breakdown of Fulham 0, Chelsea 2. Away at the Cottage in the Premier League, goal scorers in the space of 20 seconds apart. Mudryk and Mudryk Broja, both who came off injured. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about maybe the Caicedo injury, maybe the Conor Gallagher man of the match, maybe the newish positions of Conor Gallagher and Enzo Fernandez, and the general impressive defensive performance from the entire back four, and what will be a most welcome 3 points for Mauricio Pochettino's side. 2 wins in a row, and to be honest, it looked like this was coming. The performances for Chelsea have been good. Frank Lampard on Monday Night Football was doing analysis, and they were highlighting Chelsea's statistics. We've done this to death, though, haven't we? Chelsea's generally playing well, but the performances, the results not matching the performances. But today we have a win, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the ramifications, the developments, and how Pochettino's Chelsea moves forward after they scored multiple goals. Make no bones about it, this is a good result. This is an incredibly good result. Fulham have been defensively resolute in their Premier League campaign. Of course, they don't score many goals, but they don't concede them. They conceded 2 today at home, like I said. Also, Chelsea have only won 1 of their last 10 London derbies, which is a sickening and sobering statistic, in fact. So, to win this one and move forwards, it's a very positive thing indeed. And of course, now we also have a positive goal difference, which Manchester United can't say they have -4. So, drop a like on the video if you're feeling good. I appreciate your interactions. You are, of course, welcome to subscribe if you want to. It's a good day. Let's get into it. So, Pochettino playing what kind of was more of a 4-3-3 than a 4-2-3-1 formation. Of course, Fulham play a 4-3-3, so maybe this is what Pochettino did. They, back four of Fulham, of course, they got Paulinho, Pereira, and Reed in midfield. Raul Jimenez, Willian, and Wilson up front. We went with what was a bit more of a 4-3-3. We'll talk about the roles in just a minute. Levi Colwill playing left back. Cucurella keeping his role at right back after an amazing performance midweek against Brighton, of course. Centre-back partnership of Disasi and the rested Thiago Silva from the Carabao Cup. Midfield three of Moises Caicedo playing pretty much as a lone pivot, staying back. I'm looking at his heat map here. He kind of drifted to the right a little bit, but he sort of stayed back and did the most body of his work in that central defensive midfield role. Flanked by Conor Gallagher as essentially a right number 8 and an Enzo Fernandez left number 8. We're going to talk about their roles a little bit more detail in just a moment. The front three of 2 goal scorers in Mudryk Broja and Mudryk. We'll talk about the goals, of course. And Cole Palmer, who didn't get a goal get a goal in the front three, but what he did do was play incredibly well. So the stats on the day were 1.73 expected goals for Chelsea, scoring 2 goals. We had 44% possession, which is fine. Sometimes we play a lot with the ball. Often when we let them have it, we can transition quite well. We had 11 shots, 4 on target. They had 3 on target. A couple of goals. I'm looking at the missing player list here. It's just sickening. And of course, it is worrying that players came off injured in this game. Right. So let's talk about this. Marc Cucurella definitely deserved to keep his role at right back. He played really, really well here. Of course, Reece James injured, Gusto serving a suspension. I hoped to see him there, and he continued to play really, really well there. Yes, I'm very, very pleased. To be honest, I'm going to say it now. The entire back four was really, really good, I think. Played really well. Thiago Silva, 39-year-old Thiago Silva, actually played better than he had been. Whether this is the team clicking more and maybe protecting the old man a little bit more, but he very much exuded class. And there is probably an element of his left-sided defender, Levi Colwill, getting forward A beautiful assist for Mudryk, which we'll talk about again in just a second. But also, Levi Colwill is a centre-back. So his natural inclinations, his reflexes are to sort of protect certain areas in that left-hand 18-yard box or just outside, which protects Thiago Silva and allows Thiago Silva to still defend and be a centre-back, but also play-make himself. Both those Thiago Silva's a right footer, but left-sided defenders, superb cultured players. Levi Colwill, amazing passing, so is Thiago Silva. So a lot of the playmaking comes from the left-hand side. Disasi's more of a sort of lockdown defensive centre-back, and Cucurella is as well. Rob Sanchez in goal. Got a yellow for time wasting, passed out to the opposition and nearly cost us a goal. But other than that, I think he played well. It's really important to talk about because Jamie Carragher was like being, goalie's not good enough. I think he can be good enough, but he's got these wobbly moments in him that we could seriously, pay for basically. But I think he was good. He made some good saves. He's shown he can be that guy. If we're believing holistically that this whole Chelsea team can get better, and Rob Sanchez is quite young still, if we believe they all can get better, and he's like 25, which is young for a goalkeeper because goalkeepers go on forever. He could be that guy. So the whole back four, including Rob Sanchez, except for those couple of mistakes, were very, very good. Now, the midfield three might have been the reason why we won this game. Both offensively in the first half when we were really good, and the second half when it became a little bit more of like a sort of combative Fulham derby, when obviously Marco Silva got into his Fulham side at half-time and just tactically tweaked them, but also probably gave them a bit of a rocket, and they came out and started snapping into challenges. Conor Gallagher won man of the match on Sky Sports. He covered like over 10 kilometres. He was very, very good. His passing success rate was very good as well. And Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo were good. Now, Moises Caicedo, like I said, he was sitting as a CDM. He did come off injured. He was sort of hobbling. I'm really hoping all three of these injured players isn't serious, because our injury list is absolutely of biblical proportions. But Moises Caicedo was sitting. He looked very good, very comfortable. Conor Gallagher and Enzo are kind of playing as eights. Now, I tried to, because everyone was saying, and on my Instagram live at halftime, at Football Yannick, if you want to follow me on Instagram, was saying, oh yeah, Conor Gallagher's playing in the 10, Enzo's playing in the pivot. Finally, this is what we all wanted to see. And yes, true, maybe a little bit, but actually it was more of a, like I say, a 4-3-3 with Caicedo sitting and then playing eights. And if you look at their heat maps respectively, Conor is on the right and Enzo is on the left. There was a time when Conor was taking up the Enzo role. Now, before kickoff, Pochettino said to whoever was asking him in the coverage, it was Jamie Carragher asking him, we've seen you play Enzo Fernandez in the number 10 and Conor Gallagher further back. What's going on? Surely this is their roles reversed in terms of their original style and profile. And Pochettino kind of said, yeah, because Conor's more fit and ready to go. Like he puts more responsibility on the deeper role. And this is nothing to denigrate Enzo's quality. World Cup winner, friggin', they're both Argentine men, footballers, the manager and Enzo. He'll know how good Enzo is. But he clearly looks at Conor, who again won man of the match in this game, and says, yeah, you can take the responsibility of this deeper role. And Enzo's not quite there yet. Maybe he feels like for fitness or tactical instruction, which is crazy because you think he'd be able to assert his instruction to Enzo perfectly. And of course, he's given Conor Gallagher the captain's armband in the absence of the fullbacks and, of course, Reece James and Ben Chilwell. So he says, look, wear the captain's armband, play in this role that I think is really, really important. I don't really trust Enzo in that much. Maybe until today. So like I said, it was more 4-3-3 than the 4-2-3-1 we've seen so far. But they did relapse into certain tactical instructions that we've seen. For example, out of possession, usually you see Enzo Fernandez and the striker in the press. So it's a 4-4-2. It goes from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-2-2. So of course, up until recently, it's been Nico Jackson and Enzo Fernandez leading the press. But today, when I saw this, it was I think Broja had come off and it was Sterling playing centre forward. So it was Raheem Sterling and Conor Gallagher leading the press. So they had legitimately, for the first time, swapped roles. So yes, even though, like I said, there was 4-3-3 a lot of the time, it was also 4-2-3-1 with Conor Gallagher playing in the number 10 and playing in what had recently been the Enzo role. So playing as the one in the 4-4-2 press at the front and also occupying the Enzo. So maybe Pochettino is now saying Enzo's catching up and he's ready to play next to Moises Caicedo. So maybe there's a bit of that. But also, yeah, maybe it's just a bit of a 4-3-3, like I said. So let's talk about the forwards. Of course, I'm just going to talk about Cole Palmer now. Mustard. This kid looks wicked. To be honest, he also got a shout for nearly man of the match. They said Conor Gallagher, but they gave an honourable mention to Cole Palmer, which is interesting because, neither of the guys scored the goals. Of course, the other guys came off injured. Yeah, Cole Palmer looks magnificent. Before the goals, he looks like the best out of the front three. And he's not like super goal hungry. He's cultured. He's doing outside the boot passes. Feel free to comment all you want about Cole Palmer. I'll be very interested to see what you guys think. I think he looks magnificent for this. I mean, obviously he's come from like City treble winners, and he probably feels like he can express himself a little bit more here, and the pressure's off. And he's been trusted by maniac, meticulous perfectionist Guardiola. Even if Pochettino's a bit of a perfectionist, he's probably ain't no thing. He's cool with it. So Cole Palmer, I think, was excellent. So Armando Broja and Mykhailo Mudryk got goals. Let's start with Mudryk. Mudryk started the game really, really assertive, running all over the gaff, but a little bit wild, as we've expected. I think he kicked the ball out past the byline. I think he skied a ball over the crossbar. It's stuff that we've seen, all very excitable, looking exciting, but messing stuff up. And then he scored a wonderful goal and also started just playing quite well. So it's an amazing pass from Levi Colwill down the left flank, diagonal ball. And yeah, Mudryk makes the correct run. They analysed it at half-time. He can go either side of the defender, the left side or the right side. He makes the correct choice to go to the right side, takes it down his chest, puts it down in front of him. Nutmegs Bert Leno, who, by the way, has been pretty magnificent this season in goal. Like, statistically, he's been very, very good, Bert Leno. Nutmegs him, scores his first goal for Chelsea, and it's an absolute beauty. Last game against Brighton, he didn't score or assist, but he got a standing ovation by the Chelsea fans at Stamford Bridge against Brighton when he came off, just because he's kind of getting a little bit of the Timo Werners, like everyone loves a trier, and he's clearly trying very hard, but that would do him the world of good, that goal. Lovely take, lovely finish, and then played generally quite well as well. And the good thing about Mudryk is he's willing to run back and defend. He might not be really good at it in terms of his tactical discipline and, retaining the information and, the tactics from the manager, something he's got to work on. But he's got the ability to get back and press. He's got the ability to track back and just be an absolute demon. So great with Mudryk. Of course, he was hooked at half-time. He didn't look like he was carrying an injury, but maybe he had something, and they were like, look, we're 2-0 up. Let's not risk this. Broja also scored. Little bit of fortune of this. Of course, it was Tim Ream who sort of hit it against Broja, but he didn't like bounce off Broja. Broja still like kicking his foot forwards, ready, like anticipating it kind of. And he got the goal. And look, man, he deserves it. He's been out for a long, long time. This was a feel-good story for both Armando Broja and Mykhailo Mudryk. Both, obviously Broja's first start this season and gets a goal. Great, it's not like he's been like on a goal drought. He's just been out of the game for so long. It would do him the world of good. And of course, there was like 20 seconds between kickoff from the previous goal. So in fast succession, it was a real like bang, bang, do you know what I mean? And Chelsea were 2-0 up. There was opportunities maybe to score again, but like I said, multiple goals and the clean sheet as well. Just quickly before we talk about injuries and then also moving forwards from here, we saw Alex Matos come at the very end and Noni Madueke. Didn't really do anything. Sterling comes on for Broja to play striker. I don't think he played very well. He got booked as well. But, Sterling's not a striker, is he? I know he played false nine for Guardiola for a season and scored like a bunch of goals, but different scenario, different context. Ian Maatsen comes on at halftime, of course, for Mudryk. Plays okay. I do think Maatsen looks better when he starts rather than coming off the bench. Kind of like the opposite of Pulisic. Do you remember Pulisic always looked better off the bench, but never good when he starts? And I think also Maatsen looks better on the right-hand side, so he obviously is a left footer, so he like inverts in. Of course, he played on Mudryk's side, so he played on the left-hand side. But, you know, he was fine. And Leslie Ugachukwu, honourable mention for him, because this teenager, a 19-year-old we bought that we thought we were going to loan to Strasbourg, has deputised for Caicedo and looked very, very good. And Pochettino trusts him. He trusts him as a closer, and he came on for Cole Palmer in the 78th minute. We went like 4-4-2, see the game out, because the momentum was switching to Fulham. And rather than try and find a way to, you know, move the momentum back to us and score another goal, and I totally sign off on this, by the way, Pochettino was like, nah, bollocks to this. You know, we ended the game with a front two of Sterling and I think it was Enzo Fernandez, and we were playing like a 4-4-2, so 2 banks of 4. I think we had like Ugachukwu, Gallagher, who else do we have? Fernandez or Matt. We had like people loads in the midfield basically, and just Sterling and Enzo up front. So I'm totally happy with Pochettino just seeing out the game. Obviously, the only thing that could put a negative spin on this is injuries, and of course, Mudryk was hooked at half-time. He didn't look like he was struggling, so I don't know what that was. Broja, I'm a bit worried about, because when he went down, I can't remember what player came up to him, but like asked if it was the same leg, and he nodded. So that is worrying, because it would be recurring from the same injury. You know, Jackson will be available for the next game onwards. So it's not the end, but it would be a sour note for him. But, you know, Mudryk, hopefully Mudryk's okay, and Caicedo as well. Again, if Caicedo has to be out for a week or two, it's not the end of the world, because the aforementioned Leslie Ugachukwu, you know, he's looked really good actually in that role as a CDM. And if Pochettino's like altering his tactics slightly to play more of a 4-3-3 with a lone pivot, a lone CDM, which was Caicedo in this game against Fulham, there's no reason why Leslie Ugachukwu cannot play that role. So, yeah, you know, that would be okay. But ultimately, you know, like, it's tough, man. We can't have any more injuries because, you know, missing players, Badiashile, Bettinelli, you know, Chalobah, Fofana, Reece James, Lavia, and Nkunku, Chilwell, and suspended, of course, was Nico, who will be back for the next game. Gusto suspended, and, you know, you add freaking Broja, Mudryk, and Caicedo to that. I hope they're okay. Hopefully, let's pray. But yeah, man, 2 wins in a row, 2 clean sheets in a row. Obviously, Brighton are good opposition. I know they got touched up by Villa, but we'll just pretend that never happened. And ultimately, a really good feel-good factor back at Chelsea. Obviously, there's one more game before the international break in Burnley. A very winnable game, you'd have to say. Chelsea win that. 3 wins in a row going into the international break. The feeling starts to change. The narrative starts to change. Of course, you've got to win that game first. But let me know what you think. Please do comment down below. I'm very keen to learn the people's feelings. You're welcome to subscribe, of course, and support the content. Thank you very much. And keep it locked, because there's daily content here, of course. All right. Take care.